A first communion for St. Mary's Mother and Baby Home children in Tuam, Ireland, around 1950. The skeletal remains of hundreds of children were discovered on the grounds of the former Catholic home for unmarried mothers. Good morning. Here's what you need to know. Charges are expected in Russia inquiry. The investigation into the Trump campaign's ties to Russia is reportedly poised to produce its first indictment, possibly as soon as today. President Trump pushed back against the inquiry on Sunday, arguing that its leader, Robert Mueller, should focus instead on Hillary Clinton. Julie Hirschfeld Davis reports Mr. Trump has suggested that he believes that the questions he has been raising about Mrs. Clinton's conduct should put to rest any allegations about his own actions, and end the scrutiny of Russia's meddling in the election. The unusual death of a Green Beret, Staff Sergeant Logan Mailgar, a veteran of 2 tours in Afghanistan, was found strangled to death in the capital of Mali in June. 2 members of the Navy's elite SEAL Team 6, initially described as witnesses, have now been labeled persons of interest in the killing. Among the biggest unanswered questions is the motive, with theories ranging from a personal dispute gone wrong to the Green Beret stumbling on illicit activity by the SEALs members. 5 years after Sandy, flooding from the hurricane crippled the New York City area in 2012. Although much of the inundated infrastructure has been repaired, and some has been improved, most of the big plans to storm-proof the city remain just that, plans. Each year we don't get a hurricane here, we know we've dodged a bullet, one planning official told us. We're racing the clock still to try and prepare for another storm like Sandy. We spoke to residents in New York and New Jersey about how their lives changed. Almost 800 children vanished. Why? One of our most read stories this weekend was from the Irish town of Tuam, where the bones of 796 children were discovered near a home for unmarried mothers. In a video, an amateur historian discusses the mysterious tragedy she helped bring to light. No one cared, Catherine Corliss said. And that's my driving force all the time, no one cared. The Daily. The Trump dossier. We look at the origins of the research into President Trump's connections to Moscow, and Mr. Trump's top lawyer discusses the Russia investigation. Listen on a computer, an iOS device or an Android device. Business. President Trump favors aggressive financial deregulation, but the main candidates to lead the Federal Reserve don't appear to share that goal. The president is expected to announce a nominee this week. Technology companies will face questions from Congress about Russian meddling in the presidential election, one of the headlines to this week. But Facebook's problems in other parts of the world are even more disturbing. Our columnist writes, How to be the big boss. Our columnist interviewed 525 chief executives over the years. Here's what he learned. Hamilton Fish, the president and publisher of The New Republic, is taking a leave of absence pending an investigation into complaints by female employees. U.S. stocks were up on Friday. Here's a snapshot of global markets. Smarter living dips, both new and old, for a more fulfilling life. Keeping a journal can help you file an insurance claim after a fire. How to have a romantic vacation. Turn off your phone. For starters, recipe of the day. Massaginger sauce works well on pan-griddled sweet potatoes, and on a lot more. Over the weekend, the governor of Puerto Rico moved to cancel a $300 million contract awarded to a small Montana company to rebuild part of the island's battered power grid. The deal had prompted withering criticism from Congress and FEMA. In Barcelona, hundreds of thousands rallied in favor of Spanish unity and against secession by Catalonia. Kevin Spacey apologized for what he said would have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior after a male actor accused him of a UAL advance 31 years ago. When the accuser was 14, the Houston Astros are a win away from a World Series title after beating the Los Angeles Dodgers 13-12 in a wild game that went to extra innings. Game 6 is Tuesday. In the NFL, a majority of the Houston Texans knelt during the national anthem after the team's owner was quoted as saying, "We can't have the inmates running the prison." Here are Sunday's scores. Jigsaw, the latest installment in the Saw horror series, took in about $16.3 million to lead the North American box office. Noteworthy damage in deserted Barbuda. In today's 360 video, Prime Minister Gaston Brown discusses the aftermath of Hurricane Irma, which forced a total evacuation of the island in September. Luke Skywalker speaks. The actor Mark Hamill made only a brief appearance, and didn't say a word, in Star Wars The Force Awakens in 2015. He had more to tell our reporter David Scuff ahead of the December release of a new film in the sci-fi saga. Mark Hamill, not so long ago, in a galaxy not so far away. It's actually his home in Malibu, Calif. Tour Graven for the New York Times quotation of the day. I looked at him and I told him, don't ever talk to me again. He said, good luck finding a job in this town. Katie Maple, a former intern in Sacramento, who said a prominent member of the California Assembly offered her a job in exchange for the promise to spend time with him, and then touched her and remarked on her legs. Backstory with the Dodgers in the World Series. Let's revisit the story of Jackie Robinson. He took the first step toward becoming Major League Baseball's first African-American player 72 years ago this month, signing with the Montreal Royals. Jackie Robinson sliding into second base in the sixth game of the World Series at Yankee Stadium in 1947. Harry Harris, Associated Press. That was a farm team of the Dodgers organization. They were the Brooklyn Dodgers then. Here's a timeline of the team, which moved to Los Angeles in 1957. He made his Major League debut on April 15, 1947, an experience he described in his autobiography. Had to fight hard against loneliness, abuse, and the knowledge that any mistake I made would be magnified because I was the only black man out there. Many people resented my impatience and honesty, but I never cared about acceptance as much as I cared about respect. He was a huge star, becoming Rookie of the Year and drawing enormous crowds. He stole home in Game 1 of the 1955 World Series, helping the Dodgers beat the New York Yankees for their first championship. After retiring, he became a prosperous businessman and was influential in politics. He died on October 24, 1972, of a heart attack. He was 53. Read his Times obituary here. A museum dedicated to him is scheduled to open in New York in 2019. Karen Zurek contributed reporting. Your morning briefing is published weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern and updated all morning. Browse past briefings here. If photographs appear out of order, please download the updated New York Times app from iTunes or Google Play. What would you like to see here? Contact us at briefing@nytimes.com. You can get the briefing delivered to your inbox Sunday through Friday. We have 4 global editions, timed for the Americas, Europe, Asia and Australia. Check out our range of free newsletters here.